You put your blanket on the tallest crate and sit down. The night is warm. The sporadic summer breeze brings gentle refreshment. From time to time your back aches. You force yourself to keep your eyes open. The light of the moon helps you focus on the tall grasses even. For most of the time you spot smaller critters and birds, but there are exceptions. At one point, the 3-horned deers trying to challenge one another. Before they clash their antlers, a 2-legged dragonling appears, leading its much smaller offspring. The furry beasts try to intimidate the predators with roars and aggressive head movements. After a few moments, both sides walk away slowly, not willing to risk the fight, nor admit their defeat. I'm not going to let this distract me. I'm going to keep looking around. This is nothing new to me. I'm a Roadwarden. You hear the death screams of distant prey and the mating calls of the monkeys. How do I know it's not Julia and the bearded man? Runners are chasing a grey hare. A group of musk oxen lazily chew the grass, preparing themselves to sleep. A dusk fox is running together with a lynx, making playful screeches. Thankfully, you never have to intervene. You just sit there, watching the not-so-distant forest, trying to outlast your sleepiness. You can only guess how much time has passed. Once you feel you've had enough, you climb down and go to a tent, waking up the bearded man with a couple of words. You confirm that nothing important has happened. I gather my things and squeeze into the tent. I use my bag as a pillow, put my blanket on the pallet, and cover myself with my cloak. Sleeping in a tent is not the stuff of dreams, but it's a much welcomed rest. The pallet keeps the cold soil away. The moonlight saves the outside world from the eerie gloom. You listen to your own breath and find a comfortable position. Always important if you're sleeping outside, which I don't often do. In fact, I've never done. You always want to be elevated off the ground, because that ground is just going to be a heat sink. Your warm body versus the entire Earth. The Earth can take all that heat away from you and then some. Your job starts tomorrow. I focus on the real goal of my journey. The Merchant Guild wants to take control of this realm. Your warden duties are secondary. First and foremost, you need to explore the peninsula. Learn about the territory, resources, and threats. Get to know the locals, and if you can, convince them to consider negotiations with the Hovlaven officials and traders. Could the tribes resist the soldiers, or be a threat of the priests of the United Church? Are there any forbidden practices that need to be eradicated, such as blood magic, necromancy, robbery, or slavery? At least I have time. I need to be as thorough as I can. So I think I got another thing in my archive just then, another quest, right? In the journal? Yes, explore the peninsula. Okay. So we need to explore the peninsula, yep. To add worth to my work here, I could secure the roads by getting rid of any major threats and convince the tribes to negotiate with the officials. Soldiers told me about a large village that repeatedly uses necromancy, even though it's forbidden by law, and can be extremely dangerous. I should take a look and judge for myself. The village is somewhere among the bogs by the northwestern road. Okay. Once you finish your reconnaissance, you should speak with Julia and return to Hovlaven. There you'll report back to your employers and get your reward. In the meantime, you have your own goal to pursue. So this is me setting out my own quest. That's really cool. So either I need to gather some extra coins so I can help a person I care about. I need to gather some extra coins so I can retire early and live in prosperity and safety. If I gather enough connections among the local leaders, I'll use them to become a major player in the Merchant Guild. I want to be remembered as the soul who brought peace and order to this realm. A hero. I just want to help people. Make this region safer for the locals and the newcomers alike. Or, I need to find a new life for myself. I have a difficult past, and I want it to be forgotten. Honestly, and this is the best policy, we're in it for the money, money, money. I want to get some extra coins so that we can retire early, sit on one of the southern beaches and drink pina coladas all day, every day, and listen to, reggae music. And then, grow dreadlocks. That's my plan as the Road Warden. And you enter and become rich. Your half-asleep senses are catching the sounds of the wild forest. Your instincts keep you alert and anxious, though the pleasant, humid late summer air evens it out slowly. You're thinking about your goal, but you need to gather... I presume it says your strength. You can't travel during the night. Press the sleep button to rest. Ah. Okay. Let me just... Don't mean to do that. Well, it's close enough. Become rich. I want to gather enough dragon bones to retire early and live in prosperity and safety. 100 coins would be a good start. I could also look for an expensive treasure, something that's going to sell well in Hovleven. Can I see my inv right now? So, City asks them to make coins by cutting dragon bones into slices. Oh, that's really cool. They're valued by merchants, so rarely used in the countryside. I love this, little, lore thing. It's not just bones, it's dragon bones specifically. I love it. What would make it even more cool is if, and this might happen in the future, we get an event where someone's trying to do counterfeit, and maybe it's something like, if you burn dragon bones, nothing happens to them. But if you just burn, a regular bone, it splinters and fractures. That's how they can tell the difference. That would be unbelievable. Right, anyway, how do I sleep? You don't stand out from the crowd. Oh, I've got an appearance score now. You won't get much cleaner without a proper bath. Okay, sleep's up here. Okay. Sleeping in a tent. You can spend the night in a borrowed tent. It's nothing special, but it will protect you from the wind and rain, and the ground won't be painfully hard nor cold. So, I'm gaining vitality, I suppose. My appearance is going down, and my food is going down. Okay, that makes sense. I do sweat a lot in my sleep, so that makes sense. You're woken up by sunlight, well rested and ready. Without haste, you gather your things. After only a couple of breaths, you notice a weird smell, like a roast. No, burning meat. Burning, rotten meat. Disgust crawls into your consciousness. You exit the tent. Your horse is looking around nervously. Your bags are where you'd left them. You see an open gate. We have to go outside and see what's happening. Both soldiers are standing near a humble pyre. The man in the shirt looks at it contemplatively. Julie is the first one to address you. And Alono, she greets you with a nod. We used the horse's manure for the flames, so don't worry about cleaning it up. You see a corpse amongst the flames. It's impossible to tell if it belongs to a male or female, but it was an adult. The burning process won't be over for a couple more hours. A traveller or an undead? The latter, a young one. She lacked the pneuma to understand that she couldn't get inside the camp without climbing. I stabbed her with a spear from a safe distance. She shifts her weight. One more fog and she'd be a real threat. Even now it took a couple of hits to knock her down. Sooner or later, every human shell wakes up, gaining more strength with each soul it devours, and each moment it spends in the fogs. Burning the dead is not just a religious practice, it's a necessity. Soldiers, priests, village mayors, even road wardens. Making a large pyre takes a lot of time, but it saves lives. Julia calls this undead a she. Most unites hesitate to do so. Okay. One more fog and she'd be a real threat. Okay. So is the fog actually a natural phenomenon? It doesn't mean something else? Okay, we're just going to have to get used to the lingo of the lands. But again, I like the lore. Time for me to leave. Running away from the reek, huh? I don't blame you. She walks with you for a few steps. Find us here if you need us. or if you learn what happened to Asterion. There's enough ground here for you to rest. Safe travels. These words make you stop, an old farewell, mocked in a number of songs and tales. But yet you hear no scorn in Julia's voice. You wonder how many acts of kindness like this one you're going to experience in the days to follow. She returns to the pyre. Alright, we're going on our first adventure. I prepare myself for the journey. You sort of miss the fact that your mount is already saddled and warmed up. You double check the equipment, but you don't need to fix anything. The soldiers were diligent. Normally preparing any palfrey for a long journey takes a lot of time. You put on your gambeson and make sure that your axe is tightly attached to your belt, then get in the saddle. The palfrey knickers, ready to leave. It's time for you to get on the crossroads, north from here. Right, I need to ride north. Use the travel button to see the map and move to another area. Travel forwards to continue your journey. Once you're done with the north, speak with Julie and return to Hovleven. Okay. Even at a later hour, you wouldn't expect to meet any travellers in the valley. The warm summer breeze lures your mount forward, but the serene chirping of birds is quickly replaced by the distracting screeches and gurgles coming from further down the path. You've soon found a pack of four-legged griffins. Would griffins not suffice? Can you get two-legged griffins? Can you get six-legged griffins? They're larger than foxes and merge the features of birds and furred beasts. Each one is of a different size, coat and colours, and their temperaments are just as varied. Their fronts are covered with vivid feathers, while their rears have darker fur. Their wings are massive, making them impressive jumpers, but they're too heavy to fly. Ah, interesting. About 2 dozen beasts are yelling, brawling and chasing each other around, blocking your path. I consider my options. You can't enter the forest blindly. If these or other creatures were to chase after you, the thicket would be disastrous for your horse. There are reasons why travellers stay as close to the main roads as possible, and why adventurers move in groups. Usually the safest approach would be to stay where you are, and just wait for the pack to get hungry. It may, however, take up to a couple of hours. You're thinking about the conversation with Julia. You've got a lot to do, and time may be of the essence. On occasion, you can use the Scholar's Education to unlock unique interactions. Okay, and the dice icon marks the actions that involve a random chance. So I could take my axe and hurry the horse. If we ride fast enough, we should be fine. Or I can stay here. Let me see my knowledge. I now have the option. I mix black powder with gladden that grows nearby, and the dried skunk sorrel from my bag. Once I ignite it and throw it at the griffins, they'll scatter. Cool. We'll make some griffin tear gas. Most city folk feel aversion towards black powder, and you touch it with great care. The odour of the plants makes you feel dizzy, but what's more important is that the griffins have wolf-like sensitive senses, or something like that. I wish this wouldn't cover the thing. But sensations to smells and noises. A few of the beasts turn their heads towards you as you approach the pack with a bag in your hand. You ignite your missile and throw it forwards. At first the creatures surround the source of smoke, but then growl in disgust, even putting their beaks to the ground. They flee, allowing you to continue your journey. Nice! By the way, can you growl with a beak? You can learn more about your character abilities in the character sheet. Knowledge. You're literate, your education helps you solve many mysteries. Alchemy. With an access to an alchemy table and proper ingredients, you can brew useful balms and potions. Okay. Okay. Pagan, our faith is undetermined. Oh, this is really cool. I like this already. I climb on the horse and cover my nose. I really need to find a proper alchemy set. The road splits. According to what the soldiers have told you, you may find a safe inn by turning left. The forest to the right is lush and the trail overgrown. Kids used to have this song. How did it go? The harshest pathway leads to the dragon's lair. Those who search for the treasure, do you truly dare? The signpost in front of you doesn't make your situation much clearer. It was put here by someone who can't write. For folks who can't read. Covered in old red paint, it points east. Blood there, as people say, danger to be found. There's not a soul to ask for guidance. I look at my horse. You have any idea, Shadowmane? Okay. By the way, we've got an achievement ding as well for like a start of our journey. So we've been told to go left. Can I see this on the map now? Is this updated? It has. Okay. Well, we look at the horse. So what's its name? Oh my god. Not Sodal. Shadowmane. Shadowmane is peaceful as you stroke its mane. Maybe it can't help you choose a path. But you spent many years together. Happy to go on, it takes a couple of steps forwards. You spot a few buried shrubs and wild cabbages, but they still need at least 2 weeks to gain maturity. Time to make a turn. Okay, do I have to do this in the travel menu? Yes. Do I want to go west or to the east? Now, this isn't left and right, but I'm going to assume that left is west and right is east based on the picture from before and the orientation of this map. I'm going to go to the west. I'm going to trust the soldier. They seem like nice people. You know, they gave us a nice place to rest. They weren't too secretive, but I think they were trustworthy. Shadowmane trots with ease, unbothered by the few branches covering the beaten road. The bird songs and distant howls draw your attention to the forest, which gets sparser and brighter. You spot boars, roe deer, and saurians. The sight of a nearby wolf pack worries you, but once you push your hips forwards and your palfrey enters a canter, the beasts don't even begin a pursuit. The speed alone will protect you from many dangers. You notice a stone tower taller than the trees. Okay, it must be the inn I've heard about. Inns like this one fit the regions travelled by merchants, but you wouldn't expect a place of this size in a forsaken peninsula. The stone and lumber must have been transported from far away, and the workers guarded by expensive mercenaries. Surely lived for many seasons in a primitive hamlet, subsisting on salted supplies. There are seemingly no cracks in the wall, and the building was whitewashed only a few years back. The road is wide and beaten. Dozens of souls could hide, if not in the building, then at least in the yard. The expenses and labour put into this fortress were worth many trading ships. 3 armed people are on the ramparts, though you only see what's above their waistline. They're leaning on the parapet, right next to the gate, and you think you notice a glimpse of a smile. They wear gambesons, each one of them dyed differently. Yellow, green, and linen grey. I approach the gate. A woman in yellow armour leans forwards. She has long, curly, disorderly red hair, pointing in every possible direction. She's clearly not seen those shampoo commercials. This combination of colours doesn't work at all. In the woods, one would have to shout to draw this much attention. There's still a fair distance between the two of you, but she speaks loudly. I haven't seen a horse for years now. I just said that it's weird to see such a large jackass. Her voice is young and strong, with an accent that reminds you of the villages spread around Hovleven. But no jackass would wear a saddle, I'd say. She exchanges a few words with the male guard wearing green, giving you time to move closer. Well, This one here says there really are donkey saddles. Say, traveller, how hard is it to ride a horse? We can be friendly, playful, distant, intimidating, or vulnerable. Honestly, she seems to like a joke. She's loud, boisterous, will be playful. Let's use a joke or a witty comment. I laugh. You wouldn't believe it, the lessons were a pain. You get off your horse and imitate the silly walk from the day that followed your first long journey, when your whole shell was crying. You illustrate the pain as you move your hand from your back to your hips, then thighs. Am I doing the YMCA here? What the fuck's going on? In return, the guards tell you about that time when they had to carry their friend with bitten off legs for 3 days straight through the heart of the woods. Meanwhile, the other guard opens the gate. This is like the old man jokes where it's like, back in my day, I used to have to walk uphill to school, uphill both ways for 10 miles. And I had no shoes, and the ground was laden with glass. They smashed glass onto the ground to keep, other people out of the school. Oh, you don't know you were born, you. It sounds like a bit of a tall tale. You may be in a good mood, the woman in the yellow jacket smiles at you. But, wait, hang on a minute, was yellow jacket... Oh, it's the boisterous woman. You may be in a good mood, the woman in the yellow jacket smiles at you. But don't get so noisy when you talk to our boss. The man never smiles. He has the world's suffering sculpted on his face. She leads you under the roof under which your palfrey can rest, tethered with a cord to a wooden post near some old hay. Look at that, Shadowman, you're going to get some delicious hay. Once you're ready, go inside, speak with our boss. Maybe you're hungry. The other guards take care of various chores. They peek at your mount every now and then, and they're splitting firewood, cleaning their clothes, weeding the garden patches, and moving chairs. 2 of them are making a rope. You head towards the inn, hearing the piercing scream of a boar from the other side of the yard. They're just making Sunday lunch. New shelter unlocked. God damn this text box. If you're not in an inn in the morning, you can spend the entire day on resting. If you're at an inn in the morning, okay. Understood. 13 hours before dusk. Right. The locked windows make the air stuffy, and the weak fire in the stove hardly lightens up the hall. A muscular man is sweeping the floor near the stairs. But after he glances at you, he leans the broom against the wall and heads behind the counter. You're lucky to show up. His voice is deep and soft, with a city-like accent. He observes you with keen attention, yet avoids your eyes. I have a keg of decent ale, wormwood, bog myrtle, juniper berries, cat's foot. He fills a mug carefully and puts it on the countertop. It's gonna spoil soon, so today maybe, and we don't drink here before the even. I hate to see the good stuff going to waste. His skin is dark, almost purple, rare even amongst the southern tribes, and the hair is naturally bluish. His clothes are quite fancy for a manual labour. The elegant tunic wouldn't stand out in the city square. Okay, stand at the counter. The planks let out a creak after every step you make, so you slow down a bit. You could swear that the innkeeper made little to no noise. Oh, is he like an assassin? You think he was a contracted killer? Here you go. He pushes the mug forwards, but just so you know, my pelt doesn't belong to Hovleven. You can sleep on the floor if you wish so, but if you want a bed or a meal, you'll have to pay. We may have some leftovers from dinner, but I'd need to check. Okay, I don't want to be playful because he wants to be, he just wants to do business. I think we play distanced here. We don't intimidate him because I think he's a badass. Don't, play acts that we're vulnerable because we're not. I won't stay here for long, I introduce myself. He nods and fills another mug, this time with water. I guess there's no point in waiting for Asterion then. I'm glad to see someone taking his place. Even my crew here hits the road only if they need to see the healers of Howler's Den. And they're more than resourceful. A Roadwarden is always going to find work here in the north. Though maybe not on the eastern road. He takes a mouthful of water and drinks it with a pleased sigh. There are no guests here at the time, or hardly ever. I can take a short break. For a brief moment he meets your eyes. Ignore the ale? No, I drink the ale. I love nothing more than having a glass of fine craft ale. I drink the ale. The dark room and wooden walls of the mug make the liquid look as brown as a chestnut. The Lee in spring hits your nose, and the first sip is even too complex, too flowery. While the brewer has used fancy ingredients, the exotic licorice ruins the aftertaste. Now, you know why there's so much left. Maybe it takes an acquired taste. Honestly, as someone has partaken in many thousand a beer, many 1,000 different craft ale, a brown ale that was licoricey and maybe a little bit floral, honestly, I would try this. That wouldn't put me off. I'm honestly more intrigued in the ale now. I kind of wish that was my quest, to drink all the ales in the Northern Lands. Maybe that'll be our personal quest. Right. The innkeeper nods. I was hoping to see someone willing to patrol the roads. Maybe it'll help me with a worrying thought I have, which is, there are brigands in the woods. All places a stronghold, so I'm not afraid of an open strike, but they've gotten more active in the last 2 years. One day, they may steal our furs, and I have no doubt they're the reason why merchants come here only once. Having bandits around gets expensive. He rubs his hands together, camouflaging his paws. I want you to reach Howler's Dell, northwest from here. It's the largest settlement around. I'm sure you'll get there sooner or later. Ask Feis, the mayor, about Glacia, that bloodthirsty wolf of a woman. I've heard rumours about a raid in the north. If Glacia is ready to break the truce with the locals, I'm willing to join forces with them to get rid of her band. Okay. He looks at a nearby dragon bone. Not too difficult, right? Just do it when you have a chance. A couple of days won't make much of a difference. I'll pay you 2 coins when you get back with the news. Fine? Okay, it's 2 coins for me to go to the Howler's Dell, take this message, and then come back, right? It's not 2 coins for me to also, be a part of the raid, because that doesn't seem like a fair deal. Though I don't really know how the economy works. Like, what do I buy with a dragon bone? Is it, can I buy a horse with 1 gold? Or, not even 1 gold, 1 dragon bone? Is it, a mug of ale? Right, so there's brigands in the woods, so we want to stay out of the woods because of the brigands. And we have to go northwest. Howler's Dell. Alright. Oh, 3. You know what? I think he'd respect this. He nods with a smile. What else do you need? I could eat something. Do you have any leftovers? What do you have for sale? Do you have anything you'd like to buy? I'm looking for Asterion, the previous Roadwarden. What can you tell me about the peninsula? I didn't expect to find an inn of this size in a place such as this. About Glacia's band. Rumours worth sharing. And that's all I need. Okay. First things first, let's get down to business. What do you have for sale? I can go and pick up a few things for you. Some food for your travels to start with. Apples, nuts, sausage. All sounds delicious. And frankly, phallic. Not too many at once. We need to maintain our supplies. I've got an elk fur I don't need. Its buyer was caught by a pack of red wolves. Nice for a sleeping spot. Just as nice for a wall. An almost untouched soap. Priceless for a traveller. Yeah, but what price are you willing to sell it for? You can't tell if he's sarcastic. Made of fine oak ash. Strong, though you should have some better supplies before you start your own bathhouse. After you mention you'd like something more useful on the roads, he looks down. I don't have any blades or armor to spare, but if you pay well, I can take you can take one of our crossbows and a bunch of quarrels. A yew bow, wool cords, and a trigger needs just a little bit of oil. It's as good as you get without soaking it in magic. Takes a bit of muscle to draw, but even a 16-year-old could handle it. I won't sell it cheap, but I'm ready to give a discount to a helpful ally. Let me take a look what you have first. Oh my god, this is expensive. So rations are a dragon bone. What on earth is this? Is this just that I can't afford it? I presume it's I can't afford it, not that, this is a different type of dragon bone. Honestly, how much rations I've got? 3 filling meals. Okay, give me some food rations. Oh, did I buy 2? Did I buy 3? Oh, great. I'll take it. 3 meals for 1 dragon bone. I will take your box of soap as well. You never know when it's going to become useful, especially for, an alchemist like myself. If I'm getting chased by Saurons, and, I can soap up with some water from my pouch, and I can just spill it on the ground, and they'll comically slide off right around the corner, off a mountainside. That thing could save my life. I'll buy it. Also, being sanitary is good. Okay. Do I have anything that he would want to buy? I have nothing I think I'm willing to sell. I think I would like my battle axe, even just for, convenience of cutting something down. So let's get to, conversing. We're looking for Asterion. Are you now? He goes to the table and invites you to sit down with him. I don't think I'm going to be of much help. He rests his elbow on the table and grunts quietly to clear his throat. But I do want you to find him, so... When asked about his intentions, he measures his words. Asterion and I made a risky deal. Well, a very promising one. Last time he was here, he took 50 coins, my half of the investment. He knocks on the table with a fist, anxiously. If you get my coin, or at least find out what happened to the guy, I'll make sure you won't be disappointed after bringing me the news. Could it be that Asterion stole the coins and ran away? He looks at the window and starts to play with a shutter. I just think Asterion ain't the kind of soul that would do such a thing. For him, it wasn't much of a fortune, and I'd risk saying he'd earned my trust. Not only mine, It's easy for a Roadwarden to make connections. He always had places to go, things to take care of. He rubs the table with his thumb as if he's trying to clean an invisible stain. I've asked travellers. I've sent a couple of my pals to find him. No real news. I know he stayed in White Marshes for a day and was meant to do something for the people there. It's a village in the northwest. Just stay on the main road until you reach the bogs, and enter them. You may get there before dusk. So, let me know once you find anything, and we may yet return to this whole investment thing. Okay, the White Marshes now, also in the northwest. And it's by the bogs and we need to head up there anyway, so... I say I don't think about it, but I'll do more than think about it. I'll try and do this. Are there any rumours worth sharing? He crosses his arms. I don't like to talk to people... I don't like to talk about people who ain't nearby. But you know what you're doing. Who are you wondering about? Tell me about... Oh, I have to type something in. Example Empress. Monster. I don't know them. How about... Let's try that Empress then. What do you mean? Are you trying to find her? After all these years? He chuckles. The Empress is gone, and she'll never be back. She's as dead as shit. Alright, let's change the topic. So I can ask him about someone specifically. Can I go... How far... Who was the mayor? Face. Okay. Okay. Sorry, let me just try this one more time. People say she's a good mayor, but she's rich from birth, so also careless. She doesn't know the struggle, the hunger and dirt, so fancies her clothes more than one would. She thinks she keeps the village safe, even though it's the druids who do all the work. He looks down but finally speaks again. She may be frivolous, but isn't stupid. If you're smart, better keep your eyes open. Ah, so the druids are keeping... Oh my god. What was it called? Howler's Den. The druids keep Howler's Den safe. Do you think the druids are what are being mistaken for necromancers? Okay, something to think about. I didn't expect to find an inn of this size in a place such as this. Ah, so you know a thing or two after all. His mocking tone is soon replaced by a gentle smile. It was built long before we arrived. It didn't work out well for the previous owners. Once the war ended, they left. Not enough travellers, bad trade, the villagers stick to themselves. We, however, came prepared, and now we're prospering. When you ask him how they can afford all their supplies, he runs his fingers through his dark hair. I'm not against running an inn, but we don't rely on guests. We're the ones doing all the trading. My hunters are a clever bunch and stay safe in the forest. In exchange for furs, claws and bones, we get what we need, and more. Both from the south and the north. He relaxes in his chair. We have a good life here. We spent a whole lot on armour, crossbows, lumber, spears, but in another 10, maybe 20 years, we'll have enough savings to move to Hovleven and not work for another day in our lives. We take risks, but smartly. The team is stronger than ever, and I have big plans for us. Is there a good story about the inn's name? I'm not going to ask him about, his background. I mean, there's a story, but not a good one. He clears his throat. For years I wanted to have an inn called Pelt, but in my city it would have been in bad taste. Taverns and inns named with a single word were cheap, had a nasty reputation. There was the Claw, and Mugger, Basilisk, and Blissful, I think. The good places used at least 2 words: empty barrel, a rose and helmet, Empress's smile, Big Ed was the exception. It was a real dive, he chuckles. In my soul, it's still just a pelt. Pelts are what we came here for, and what will make us reach our goals. Return to my other questions. I'm not that interested in, why someone of his ethnicity is here. I think that's prying too much. Can you tell me any information about the peninsula? What could anyone say? This place doesn't even have a name, unless there's an old book in an archive that no soul knows about. You know what I'd call everything from here to the coast? The hunting ground. He glances at your eyes, but it's not us who hunt. Keep that in heart, but the beasts in all shapes and forms. His words gain confidence slowly, which is strengthened by his deep voice. I've lived in this inn for over 10 years now. I've only seen a couple of roads, a couple of places. It's just... once you get here and you see how harsh it is to hit the road, you have only more reasons to stay at the warm stove behind a wall, even if it's suffocating. He looks towards the windows. I'm sure you've heard a lot already, that people don't build hamlets anymore. There are no more ibexes from the south, and the traders stay only for a few days. All of our iron is used for cauldrons, not swords or tools. What will I find travelling west? The eastern road is as rough as I heard, or have you ever been to the northern coast? Let's ask about these eastern roads. Pretty much. Don't leave the main road, I'd say. Not so far from here you'll find another old dolmen. A few of my people had to spend the night there, and monkeys stole food and gourds from their bags. It was their fault. One of them had fallen asleep in the middle of his watch, but, you know. The eastern forests are wild, the roads are rough, almost no soul lives there. One day, all these roads will be swallowed by the trees again. The furthest my team has ever gone was the home of the Enchantress. Just stay on track until you reach the Crossroads. Right near an abandoned watchtower. From there, turn east. You'll recognise the place. It's a nice home in a It's a nice home in a lonely meadow surrounded by a wall. It looks towards the closed window, then at you again. Kind of like all walls, but simpler, without coating. She lives as a hermit. Eudocia. I don't even know how she survives there. But if you don't have decent coin, you won't find much there. So back to the Crossroads. If you turn left instead, you'll see a road. People stay away from it. It connects the tower and the monastery. A shortcut between the two sides of the peninsula. I was warned by the locals not to use it. It already belongs to the beasts. Man, this was a lot of information. So, if I went east at the crossroad, there's then another crossroad. And we would want to go east there. And if we don't go east, we go to a road that is a shortcut between the peninsulas and connects the tower to the monastery, which I assume will be on this path as well. But the beasts already control it. Okay. So beware of a road past the monastery is what I'm really getting here, since we've gone down this western path. What will I find travelling west? Well, there are hills nearby. Then you'll find a village, maybe an hour away from here. It was destroyed by beasts almost a decade ago. Nothing to see there. The goblins live there now, so most people just travel around it. And they say it's haunted, but who knows? Who cares? He crosses his arms and starts to sway back and forth, gathering his thoughts. You'll get to a large tree on the edge of the swamp. For the locals, it's sacred. You're not used to hearing someone mentioning pagans, as if there's nothing unusual about them. There's a small path south, which leads to an old mine in the mountains. Nothing to find there, but keep riding north and you'll find Howler's Den. Set at a clean brook. Farmers live there, and mouflons and druids. They'll let you stay for a night, but they're not cheap. If anyone thinks my prices are bad, it means they ain't been to the Ape Ale Inn yet. He lets out a gentle smile. Right. Brain. So, village has goblins in it. Destroyed village. Ignore it. Go around it. Then there's a large tree at the edge of the swamp. And it's sacred. Don't burn down any trees at the edge of the swamp. Then a path that goes to a path to the south. Okay, I've got my idea. Small path which leads to an old mine in the mountains. Nothing to... Oh, it's not to the south. It's to the north. Sorry. Okay. So mine to the south. Does this get marked on my map? No, I just have to remember it. Brilliant. Okay. Honestly, I'm going to take notes. I'm a diligent road warden. Because I can't remember all this shit. Give me my book. Okay. So, in my world, we have, if we go left and down, mine. If we go up, it's Howler's Den. Then, on the way to that left, Gobbo Village. And if I'd gone right at the previous crossroad, and we're at Inn. If we'd gone right previously, there's then another crossroad which, one takes you west, right? And that's Enchantress. And the other goes across the peninsula. How did it go west then? Wait, was this right? Oh, turn east. Balls. So, east is Enchantress. Right? And then there's a path that goes... It doesn't say which direction, right? Yeah, there's just a watchtower. Watchtower? Then there's a path which I assume goes over the misty mountains of Moria, or wherever they were called. And I guess they were called the Misty Mountains. Then there's a monastery on the other side, and I don't know how the monastery connects to Howler's Den and so on. But this path is danger. Beasts. Okay. I've got it. My map is ready. I smile politely. Oh, you know what? I nod. I know only a bit about the next settlement, Old Pagos. The soil there ain't too fertile, so they work in their quarry and help other settlements build things in exchange for crops. The forests and hills ain't too harsh, but the Seekers have a small monastery nearby in the mountains. I don't care much about them, they keep to themselves, and they don't pay well. Right, so Howler's Den, then you carry on round and you have Old Pagos. And there's a monastery connecting to that in the mountains. Right, my map actually makes some degree of sense right now. And they are cheapskates. Cheap. The third village is an unknown to me. White Marshes, said at the Bogs. I've heard it smells like a griffin's lair. I've heard a lot of nasty rumours about the place, but I won't share them. I don't want to be a lie spreader. Honestly, you seem like another genuinely nice fellow. So I'll just put you near Old Pagos right now. White Marshes. And I'll just put above it Bog. So the three villages really. Howler's, the one near the monastery, whatever it's called, and Marshes. Don't let their beds and palisades fool you though. Weird people live there. Don't tell them more than you need to. You wonder if something he would tell other travellers as well. Have you been to the North Coast? I only know about another inn. It's far from here. Maybe a day on foot. A bit less from the eastern side. His eyes once again focus on the floor. I've never been there, but I've heard it's a safe place. Close to villages of fishers and hunters, though I don't know much about them. Okay. Very north. Inn. And the east coast is just a mystery to me. Inn and safe. Safe inn. Alright, that's all I need to know. Thank you. Glausier's band. He freezes observing your hands silently. He wants me to get the answers from the mayor of Howler's Den. I'm on it. Okay, sorry. That's, I presume, when I finished the quest. Okay, do you... Oh, I'd like to ask about one. No. Leftovers. Yes, I feed them to our boar. I won't give them away for nothing. He tells you to wait, then leaves the building for a few minutes and returns with a wooden bucket and a long stick ending with a hook. Go through the gate and turn left. You'll see a bunch of bushes. We need some berries. Bring me a bucket full. You'll be done in half an hour or so. Your horse could use a nap anyway, and I'll prepare something to fill you. The hook is not made of metal or wood. It's a long curved claw, almost black. I reach for the tools. Half an hour? That's quite a lot for berry picking, or I won't do that. Do I look like someone who forages for berries? No, this guy has been a gentleman to us. We're a guest in his home, and he's helped me out, so you know what? He scratched my back, I'll scratch his. The tools are cold, not too heavy. You notice a pair of thick gloves at the bottom of the bucket. Ah, the berries are not a problem, the innkeeper smirks. Unlike the snakes. Better scare them away with a stick or move them with a hook and protect your hands. The little ones won't eat you, but don't get bitten. I'm sure you know how to be patient. Alright, you know what? I take back this back-scratching exercise. I feel like you didn't give me enough information to deal with venomous snakes. Alright, sure, let's do it. You step outside. Shadowmane is enjoying some old hay. You hear the sounds of work coming from the armourer's workshop. I go outside and forage for berries. The innkeeper knew what he was talking about. You put on the gloves and look through the bushes from a safe distance. It doesn't take long before you notice the first serpent lying on a rock, somewhere in the thicket. The creatures are not that large, and even if some of them hiss at you or silver close, the jabs of the hook keep them at a distance. You don't know much about these berries. They are round and reddish. You wouldn't trust such a colour even if you were looking for food in the wilderness. The plants don't have thorns, but the leaves are harsh, and you make sure to thoroughly cover your skin with your clothes. You have to look through many bushes to fill the bucket, but the presence of insects and snakes doesn't allow you to relax. I gather the berries and go back to the inn. Let me use my knowledge. I notice a shrub that's not like the others. One of the bushes in the back has more berries than the others. They're purple, and as you squeeze one of them, you recognise that these are marsh buells. In small amounts, they are added to pies, sauces, and beverages, known for their delicate sourness and sweetness. Unique, but not intrusive. Still, eating a cup of them will make one sick, if not poisoned. You're surprised to see them in a meadow, far away from a wetland. You could use them on an alchemy table if you can find it. For now, you put a fistful into one of your jars. The others are still a bit greenish. Is that in my inv now? Shadowmane! Hello. Can I go into my alchemical ingredients? Oh, I can. I have a bunch of marsh buells. Cool. Okay. Actually, what were the other things, sorry, I was meant to look out for? And is time going past? It is. 12 hours left now. How did I get to here? It was the inn, right? A snake-bait flower, cave hair mushroom, black woundwort, cursed soil, fresh rare herbs, bog friend or bog friend, if you can speak English, and a basalt rock powdered on the top of a mountain. Oddly specific. Okay. Return. Return to the game. You return to the courtyard. Two of the guards are participating in a friendly skirmish. Their wrestling is accompanied by a crowd. Oh, I can't go and check the other things now. Okay, sure. The locked windows make the air stuffy, and the weak fire in the stove hardly lightens up the hall. The innkeeper is mixing something in the pot at the stove. So, you again. Need anything? I put the fruits on the counter. Great. He peeks inside the bucket. I've got a cabbage stew with a few goose chunks for you. I'd serve it even to merchants if there were any around. The meal is warm and filling. It's well seasoned and not overcooked. And like I've said, I rarely have food to spare, but feel free to ask if you ever stop by. You may be lucky, and I've been cooking my whole life. Thanks. And how did that old hook of mine work out for you? I still see you have your hands. Oh, I can buy it from him. Or I can lie, I've lost it. No, give him the hook back. I'm fine. He takes the tools from you and nods. Need anything else? That's everything I need, honestly. Oh, now I can do the stuff. So, I can approach the guards or head to the armourer. Let me head to the armourer. You walk past the well and find a small open shed, not unlike the stable, but with a humble set of tables, carving tools, hammers, sharpening stones, pincers, knives, and other tools. As long as something can be solved by brute force, this place will find a way to do so. There are two people sitting in a long bench. The first one is a male with maybe inch-long hair, a cleanly shaven face, a thin, long yellow tunic, bare legs, and sandals. A fashionista, also. He ignores your presence, sewing a gambeson with great concentration. The second person is a boy, maybe 15, who's wearing the crude outfit of a farmer. He glances at you, but soon returns to sharpening a long dagger. Honestly, in ye olde times, 15 I don't think is a boy anymore. I think 15 is, you're a man earning your keep. And imagine in a harsh world like this, it's even more true. That this literally might be midlife. Anyway, greetings. The man raises his head, but it's the boy who speaks. Focus on his task. He ain't talking. Tell him what it is you need. The man smiles in confirmation, looks at the piece of garment in his hands, then looks around, shrugs, and returns to you with a raised eyebrow. I look at the youngster, learning the trade. No. Could you ever patch up my clothes if they were torn? He shakes his head and points at the uneven seams on his own tunic, then grabs a crude bone needle and shows you its broken head. He wouldn't even if you had the tools, says the boy. But you can try it in Howler's Den or Gale Rocks. What's Gale Rocks? Alright. Gale Rocks. Question mark. I assume it's in the mountains. So what do you offer me then? New trader. He nods and points at the laces in front of your jacket, raises his clenched fingers to his shoulders, then gently spreads and lowers them, as if he's taking off a robe. You follow his command and allow him to properly inspect your gambeson. After a few minutes he gives it back, then reaches for his pouch. He pulls out one dragon bone, shrugs, then another one and waves both of them in the air, pursing his lips. He makes a few speech-like noises with his empty mouth, groaning what sounds like, I don't know. I consider his offer. In 1 hour your jacket will be carefully patched up. Yeah, I will pay one dragon bone to give me 3 armor instead of 2. Perfect. And an hour went by though. Your jacket as good as the armor could make it. Perfect. Well done. Okay, 11 hours till dusk. Honestly, we haven't got time to talk to this kid. Let me have a look at the well. The recently renovated wooden roof covers the well from rain and birds. One of the guards is enjoying the cold drink he drew with a bucket and tells you to use only as much water as necessary. The oak ash soap yum can help get you cleaner. Oh my god, I can wash my body? I wash my shell. Splashing yourself with cold water from a bucket won't take away your smell, but it's enough to remove the tallow and sweat from your skin or mud stains from your clothes. Perfect. And just before we leave, that was 15 minutes, let's quickly converse with the guards and I think I'm out. The woman in yellow armour is kneeling next to a brown hairy boar which is resting on its side. The beast is not as large as the dark ones from the forests. It responds to the touch of the human's hand and brush with grateful grunting and rapid twitches of a hind hoof. No matter how friendly it appears, it's still tethered to the well, and you have no doubts that its charge would leave Shadowmane dead in a breath. When the woman notices you, she steps forward to the boar's disappointment. So, the new Roadwarden. She points at a window with her chin, forestalling the question. We don't need anything now, but when we travel with our furs, we can use some assistance. She may be around 30, but her warm voice and bright smile are camouflaging the touch of time on her unpowdered face. Like many red-haired people with freckles, her skin is unhealthily pale. Rude. The boar runs up to her, observing your boots and fruitlessly sniffing for food beneath the beating ground. She pats its back, but maintains a focus. How about a game or two? We have a bit of time and can talk a bit about this and that. Maybe we'll get a couple of coins, or lose one, she winks. We could play dice or throw axes at a target. So I can either play some dice, I can do some axe throwing, which doesn't seem like my best choice, being, a scholar. I don't have the time, or I don't gamble. This might upgrade my character sheet to say that I never gamble. I think I'm willing to gamble. However, I don't know if I am 10 hours, 45 minutes before dusk. They did say it would only take like an hour or so to get to the next place, but it's better to be way early than, way late. So I'm actually going to turn this down. Right, I kind of thought so. Her smile disappears. She returns to the other guards. Roadwardens are always busy, ain't they? Better hope you'll have a day of rest sometime. Have you ever been to the heart of the woods? We sometimes hunt south from there. There are good hunting grounds in the western half. The second one is too overgrown. Maybe the soil is different, she shrugs. Even moves the hair away from her forehead. Sorry, I'm dumb. She then moves the hair away from her forehead. But it's a risky spot. There are treants there, and wolves. Even the furless ones. And if you have to go through the tall grasses, watch out for what's on the ground. There ain't many archers in the trees. She smiles as if it's a joke. But there are all too many worms. Even larger than a water leech. Okay. Sometimes hunt in the south. Hunting ground on the western half. The second one. What do you mean the second one? Do you mean the eastern half? So woods. East is feast. West is not best. String vest. There we go. Perfect. That's something you don't want, a string vest. Okay. I honestly don't have any more questions for you. Everything else seems reasonable. Okay. Can I travel again now? I can. Okay, I think we'll do that on the next episode. If you're enjoying this so far, why don't you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time for more adventures of And the Loner of the Roadwarden. Goodbye.